What if I told you that I had the key to unlock the secret to getting better at anything you want to do? I think we actually all know what that secret is. It's right there in front of us. We all know that in order to be our best selves, to untap our own greatness, our own potential, all we really need is self-confidence. As much of it as we can possibly get. When we're confident, when we know who we are, there's nothing that can stop us. Well, my name is Coach Rick. This is AGB Coaching. We are here to always get better. And ultimately, what that's all about is helping people achieve real self-confidence. We're going to talk about the things that get in the way of that confidence. We're going to talk about the different strategies that help you obtain that confidence. I am so excited to come today to our very first episode where I get to introduce myself to you. For those of you who don't know me, tell you a little bit about myself, but mainly I'm here to introduce a good friend of mine, somebody that I've been working with now for about 14 years and have been able to put the AGB mentality, put this idea of self-confidence on display in his life. I have helped him, he has helped me, and now we are joining forces to come together and help as many people as we possibly can. That's what AGB coaching is all about, and I am super excited to get started. So again, my name is Rick Williams. I am an athletic director at the university level. I have been an athletic director and a coach at the high school level. I have been an entrepreneur. I started my own program, AGB Basketball, some time ago, and all of those experiences have led me to this moment where I am overwhelmed and overflowing with information. I have so much expertise and knowledge and passion and things that I want to teach parents, coaches, and athletes about how to navigate the world of youth sports with a mentality that transcends the confines of sports. This is AGB Coaching. I'm Coach Rick. Let's get to it. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you guys our very first guest, and it's very fitting that our very first guest at AGB Coaching will be none other than Justin Bergeron. Justin Bergeron, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Rick? How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Welcome to the show, man. I am excited about this talk, man. We are going to tell the people who you are, what this is all about, why we are joining forces. But most importantly, we're going to put the AGB mentality on display from episode 1. Right? So here we go. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get right into it.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Justin Bergeron. I was fortunate enough to find Rick at age 14 out in Lyndhurst, Illinois. And as he was saying, he instilled a core set of beliefs that kind of carried with me throughout my last 14 years here at 28 years old now, running it back with Rick. I've had the opportunity to play collegiate football, take the mentality and apply it to an entrepreneurship and business career as well. And now just excited, as well as Rick is, to kind of just pour what I have learned back into other people. And so it's coming full circle.
Yeah, you referenced the mentality. We're going to jump right into it, right? So the AGB mentality, right, started off as a basketball program that you and I ultimately kicked off. I know I get to say I'm the founder, I'm the CEO, it's my whatever. Look, you're a big part of what we've done. I'm not where I'm at today if it isn't for you and your energy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But this AGB mentality has morphed and developed over the years, right? It started off as just a basketball program, making sure that we got out of the world that AAU was in, which was basically take the best players you have, put them on display, and everyone else just kind of give them a place to play. I wanted to build a program that was designed to help every athlete get better, no matter their skill set. So I had to go out there and find some young people that were excited about playing a game. So the very first element of AGB coaching and of the AGB mentality is on display in the way you and I met. So let's talk about that. So the number one step for all of you guys who are listening, if you want to have the AGB mentality, if you want to have supreme confidence that helps you get better at anything you want to do, the number one thing you need to do is care. Without caring, none of this matters, right? I don't know if you've ever taught or you've ever been at a classroom or in front of someone, but if you're teaching something to someone and they are resisting the idea of learning it, they may say something to you like this: I don't care. And that very mentality, if we're honest, there's so many people that have that mentality. They're afraid to admit that they have a goal. They're afraid to admit that they want to get better at something. And I know, I don't care how effective you are as a teacher. I don't care how effective you are as a coach. I don't care what you do for a living. If the people you're working with don't care about their own success, you're going to have a problem. So for all the individuals out there, we want to make sure that they understand that caring is the first step. So JB, talk to us about how you apply caring to your life, and start with our beginning here at AGB.
Absolutely. Caring, like you said, it's that first step. If it's not something that you genuinely want to be doing, you're not going to see the success or the results you ultimately want to see. Finding that opportunity with you at age 14 to be with an elite baller that was willing to work and pour into the youth, that was that first opportunity of leaning into someone who cared just as much about me as I was trying to care about them in my craft. So that ultimately led to the AGB of us getting together on that year one before it was even AGB. I mean, Hoopers, right?
Right. Right. And we'll get into that over the time as we go. But that's such a big thing, right? I started off by saying, doesn't matter how effective of a coach you are or how effective a parent or teacher you are, if the people you're teaching don't care, they're not going to be successful. But you bring up the point that how much I care inspires you to care. So talk to me about that. What would you say, that one has to come before the other, or that you need both? How would you talk to the people about that?
Yeah, I think there's a give and take. But from my experience, it was when you first recruited me, like you were the first person to ever come up and show interest of wanting to recruit me to a team. And that was like that little taste where then I became obsessed with it. And so I was like, okay, if I show up and Rick keeps pouring into me, he's giving me this promise of like the results of becoming a high school starter one day, that will take care of itself. And I was sold on it and I bought into it. And I was like, this guy's genuine. He cares. He's in there ripping through with me. Like I'm following him. He's following me. Like he cares. He's different.
I think that is so cool. And I'm going to take that compliment. I appreciate that. The truth is, though, I'm also going to make sure that we understand that when I was going through those feeder programs, looking for athletes to join this new program that I was putting together, the number one thing I was looking for was someone that looked like they care. Right? Because that's the first step. And I feel like if I could find someone, regardless of their skill level, regardless of their competence, all the stuff we're going to talk about later, if they look like they really, really want to do well, that I can work with that player. I think coaches, if we're honest, that's how we feel. If we have players that we can just tell they want to be there, it helps us. It inspires us to do the craft. So much is going on in the world of education now where teachers are really struggling to engage with students who are disengaged. And I get that. That's really, really difficult. But if you find that one that is engaged, they got that glimmer in their eye, even if they get the problem wrong, it's still exciting to work with them, right? Starting with caring is so important. JB and I are a walking example of what it looks like when two people care, right? In the mentor, mentee, teacher, student, coach, athlete, parent, child, when both care, great things can happen. We're a walking example of that, right? You made me a better coach. I made you a better player. And it started with us just really wanting that, like in our soul, like we thirsted for getting better. I could tell that from the way you played. And me as a young coach, making a transition from athlete to coach is not easy. So I say that to all of our coaches. If you want to work with us, we understand if you just got to finish your playing career and you want to transition to coaching, just because you were good at playing doesn't mean you're going to be good at coaching. And that I had to learn in my 20s. I was like, dude, okay, so I had a pretty decent career, but now I'm going to pour into some other young people. That is a completely different craft, but it does start with caring. You got to stop me, JB, because I will talk, bro. I will go, man, because I'm so excited about this, right? We're finally launching
Yes.
AGB coaching, and I'm going to get a chance to work with parents, coaches, and athletes all around the country and trying to teach them these things. Some of these things are basic. People know them. Some of them, I think, if we deep dive, we're really going to help people and bless people. So I get excited. But anyway, so you got the caring. All right. So now, great. So let's divide the percentile. Now we've got 100 people, and maybe we get 50 of them to say, caring, yeah, I care. I love the game. I love this passion. I love the piano. I love whatever it is. Caring set. Now what's step 2? What do they have to do after they're done caring? They've got to become consistent. You have to become consistent. If I care on Monday and then don't care Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then I'm delaying my progress. Am I right, JB?
You're 100% right. 100% right.
All right, talk to us about how the second element, this consistency, played a role in your story.
Absolutely. So starting with that AGB mentality that Rick put in me those first 2 years, I took that into high school, and Rick's promise of becoming a high school starter came to fruition. And it led to a very fun high school career and ultimately led to a scholarship with Winona State University. And that story in itself is another just AGB mentality, because I was recruited as an athlete and highly encouraged to actually be a linebacker when I got onto campus. But I actually remember calling Rick. I was like, I really wanted to catch TDs. So ultimately, I chose to be a wide receiver. And that put me as wide receiver number 15 on the depth chart in 2013. And so your redshirt year, by the way, is an extremely humbling experience if you do go to college, because usually you're one of the guys in your high school career, then you go become a practice player for a year. So it's a very big slice of humble pie.
I just want to jump in right there. I'm telling you, that is so true. I can't tell you how many kids get to the university level, are used to dominating at the high school level, and expect to dominate right away, not realizing that they left the world of 18 through 14-year-olds. And now they're, especially with COVID, you're dealing with 25-year-olds to 18. And it is a tough transition. But you're right. Okay, so that red shirt year, you've got to humble yourself a little bit, but you're still working on your consistency, right?
Exactly. So I brought myself of now, instead of a freshman in high school, I'm freshman in college. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy in. I have a year where I just need to show up to the weight room multiple times a day and see what I turn into in a year. And that consistency led, to make the travel roster, you got to be number 1 or 2 on the wide receiver roster. And so that's 6 receivers they like to travel. Fortunately, there's another way. My hard work on the scout team got me a spot on special teams. And so I was a starter as a special team player. So they traveled their 6th, but then because I was special team, I got to be the 7th receiver. And so that redshirt freshman year, my first opportunity of eligible being able to play, I was on the roster. And then because of senior injuries and opportunities, that first game, I got my first collegiate catch because I got thrown in. And then that second game, I caught a 53-yard touchdown, and I wasn't even supposed to be a receiver on the travel team. And it's just like, if you just believe in yourself, show up, and you're consistent, you will blow your expectations out of the water.
Yeah, and look, some of these things have been truths in sports for decades. People understand that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. We've heard that before. It practically shows itself, not just like in a game where 2 teams are going against each other, but like within a specific roster, it shows itself. So many people come, they're talented, they're really good, but they aren't consistent. Maybe in month 1 or week 1 of the season, looks like they're ahead of the depth chart. But by the time classes, weight room, coaches yelling at you, expectations, missing home, I mean, you just add it up, add all the things that get in the way. So other stuff we're going to talk about, these things that attack our insecurities and make us feel unsure about ourselves. All these attacks come, and the people who fail at overcoming those attacks don't stay with their consistency. And then other people that could be less talented than them end up surpassing them. Yes?
100%. 100%. Talent is only good to a certain point, but when talent meets talent, that's when the character needs to come through, and that's the individual come out.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, so we know, and we're kind of flying through this today, right? And because we want you guys to see that at each episode, each time you come in and check in with us, you may see us, deep dive into any one of these things. We'll bring on guests with you guys that will just specialize in one component so we can teach you that. We'll use pop culture references. We'll use books we love. We'll use movies that we love, moments from our own story to really deep dive into these 4 components of the AGB mentality. But today we just wanted to overview all 4 of them and introduce you guys to Coach JB all at the same time. So, all right, so we got caring. We got our consistency. We're showing up every day. We're there all the time. And we can leapfrog some of the people that may be more talented than us that way. Now, we've got to become more competent, right? That's the 3rd C in the AGB mentality. Your caring's intact. You love your craft. You're consistent. You're showing up every day. But truthfully, you can show up every day, and if you don't know the skill set, if you don't know the playbook, if you don't know what it takes to be great, it's going to be really difficult to be great. So talk us through how you use competence to increase your AGB mentality.
Absolutely. Now I'm a sophomore in college. I made the travel roster. First 2 games, get these 2 catches, touchdown. If I told you the rest of my collegiate career, I would have 7 catches for the rest of the time, you'd be like, wait, what? You just had this higher play by injuries, and it put me in a position of like, okay, sports aren't going to be the end all be all. And that's when my selfishness, problem solving, and like self dialogue really took legs. And so I had the opportunity to be on the leadership team at Winona State University, which is a really cool opportunity. Each class has 4 individuals that their class votes in every year. And so that opportunity of being with the coaches and the seniors on critical decisions in the spring and summer, it was a great leadership opportunity to be around those other teammates. And it led into that software development cycle that I never expected. Because I was injured, had a lot of time on my hands, started pouring into my engineering craft and building apps that I enjoyed. And so applying the consistency and sports mindset to now this software world, I started seeing a lot of success, and ultimately decided to turn down a position with Abbott Labs at the end of college and decided to pursue my senior project, which was Better You. It was a social wellness platform, and it was something that I decided to take that step and use this mentality of saying, okay, let me go out of the safe, shallow waters and just throw myself out there, see what happens. And it was 2 years of failures, no's, turned down, wasn't making money, picking up a night shift at the Fastenal factory just so I could pay my rent and have groceries, buying those Quick Trip dollar eggs. So, it was that confidence of sports instilling that you do need to show up. You do need to learn deeper on each of these levels. And then that last one was like that self-dialogue. So like how I was talking to myself during those injured days was a direct reflection of my lack of being a good teammate on the sideline. And so when my self-dialogue was good and I'm looking in the man in the mirror and I'm hyping that person up, it's like, holy cow, I'm a way better teammate. I'm a way better classmate. I'm a way better coworker. And that going deeper on those unlocked a competence of life. Like you're going to get hit hard. Like life's going to throw you some body bags. But if you know that and you prepare for it and you just got to keep going through it, you'll be good.
Man, you said so much there. I want to unpack some of it with you. So one of the things that we're going to stress quite a bit is the fact that this mentality definitely transcends sports, right? It applies to sports. We want to talk to parents, coaches, and athletes. We're trying to put together a community of parents, coaches, and athletes to get better. Great. However, what we want them to understand is that we are, all of us, this all ends outside of sports. I'm not even going to get into statistics about who makes it to pros and who doesn't. Like some people become professionals, but even professional athletes retire. So the truth is all sports end outside of sports. So to teach things that transcend sports is so important for any coach, anybody that's involved in this world. So when you talk about that competence, going from football competence or even basketball competence, because you were a very good basketball player, to now business competence or tech competence, right? Would you say that the passion matched? Were you every bit as passionate, or did you care every bit as much about increasing these competence, your business acumen, your tech acumen, as you did your sport acumen? Or were you just kind of like, I don't love it as much, I'm just doing it out of a discipline point of view?
100% found that similar passion. And it wasn't necessarily with school or my classwork. It was if you look at my transcript, I wasn't the best student, but I was really great at staying up all night on YouTube, taking courses, and then building my own thing. And that's where my passion was. Like, okay, I'll get my assignments in, cool, but I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to build a wellness app. I remember the water tracking app, like the first thing I ever did. Like, it's just something that interests me, and it got me to the next tutorial, to the next tutorial, to the next tutorial.
Yeah, that's so good. And then you talked about the idea of self-dialogue. I really like that. I think I know what you mean, but I just want you to unwrap that. Self-dialogue, I think we all have it. Unwrap it for us.
Yeah. So how I like to think about it is like the voice in your head. As you grow up, you're going to become more aware of consciousness of like you, the experiencer. And so like you are the awareness of the thing, not the thing itself. And so I like to think of like Ready Player One, like I'm in here with the game controller. And so self-dialogue is like intercepting those thoughts of something happening and then immediately going into negative dialogue of like someone says, oh, we have this assignment due, or I'm like, oh shoot, I'm never going to get it done. I'm not smart enough. Or, hey, tryouts are coming up next week. Dang, I'm not going to make it. So-and-so looks so good at practice today. No, JB, you've been working hard. You can do this. Your self-dialogue, how you talk to yourself, transitions to your outside world. And so how we perceive the world becomes our reality.
Yeah, that's so big. And so I think, in my experience working with lots of young people at the high school level, college level, middle school level, again, this is all about achieving confidence. People want to have a sense of confidence. They know that. I've heard people tell me that all the time. Coach Rick, I know I need to be confident, but how? And I think that what you're untapping is some of the things that get in the way of that natural without spending a lot of time thinking about your care, your consistency, your competence. You can just find yourself having self-dialogue that impacts your confidence, right? And then you've got coaches in there, right? So let's say you're talking about self-dialogue in the way of like overcoming the things that you tell yourself about being bad. But how does self-dialogue help you overcome something that someone else may say about you that's bad? So like in coaching, our craft is about feedback. And over time, over the last 20 years, that feedback has gotten nicer and nicer. Right. When I played, that feedback was straight to the point. It had choice words in it. And sometimes they'd call you something other than the name you were given. But it was hard feedback. You're about, this. And then you had to have some sense of self-dialogue to get back out there and play. Now, there's been a lot of necessary work to make that the way the coaching craft works a little bit better so people are more positive in their feedback. But just help a young athlete out. They've received negative feedback from a coach, a parent, a teacher. How does self-dialogue help them overcome that?
Yeah, it is you going into your head and say, okay, every single person is going to have an opinion about you. That is something that you're never going to be able to change or impact. So, yes, that's their opinion. Am I going to let their opinion become my opinion? And that's like a huge gate. Put a little moat around yourself, protect yourself. You ultimately have the final decision if you're going to allow that person to instill their beliefs onto you. And it's easier said than done. As you're younger, you definitely become your environment. As you get older, you learn how to change your environment and you create what you want to be around. But it's difficult and you can't let that negativity seep in. You got to push out more positivity. So that self-dialogue, self-help, the work, the affirmations, there's so many daily little tricks to try and do. And it's awesome, but it only works with consistency. And so it's cool how it ties right into the mentality.
It does. It really does. And I tell people that if you are feeling down, if you are feeling less than, the answer is to increase your competence. Go learn something. Go from step 1 to step 2. Just because that is self-fulfilling. It feeds your self-esteem, and then you're not necessarily looking for feedback from other people. You're just like, I am faster today than I was yesterday. I am stronger today than I was yesterday. I'm smarter today than I was yesterday. And the more you know that, the less you allow people to get into your psyche and tell you otherwise, right? But we are extremely vulnerable and fragile in our mind when we are not progressing, when our competence is staying the same, and then someone's saying, hey, you're struggling, you're dropping on the depth chart, you're not getting this job. Whenever we hear something negative, the competence that we have is one of our best natural defenses against it. So
100%. And tying that the competence into the business world, if you don't like your 9 to 5, your corporate job, if you want to make your own rules, make your own money. And that was some entrepreneur advice I heard. It was if you don't like the structure of your work, right? If you don't like that, go create your own thing. And that's what you did with, AGB mentality. And it's the business world is so tied in the sports world. And yes, that competence, if you don't like what someone's saying, go prove them wrong. You have every opportunity in the world, especially today's technology, YouTube, university, you got this. So yeah, competence, man. I love it. Let's roll right into number 4.
Yeah, number 4, it's home base, right? I mean, literally think of it in the world of sport. You've worked around these bases, you coming back to home, and home is confidence, right? When you are confident, it propels you back to the beginning. So now what I love about this, I know James Clear talks about this and other people talk about it in their way, but we're talking about it in our way. In the AGB mentality, what we want people to know is that you can start at care. You can move your way through consistency and competence to arrive back to this true self-confidence. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And then you can stack that to the next skill set. So going from a basketball player to a football player, from a football player to an app builder, from an app builder to a business builder. Talk to me about confidence and how it's played a role in your story.
Absolutely. The AGB mentality ultimately gave me the confidence to take these post-college risks that I have. Turning down that first job opportunity to pursue Better You was that first risk, that first step. And the confidence of just doing that was only because of what sports had done to me up to that point. And it was great because it put me into situations of trying to reach out and when work with businesses. And like I said, 2 years of no, but it led me to this next level of confidence of like, JB, if you're just consistent, oh my gosh. And so all of a sudden, 2 years later, I find myself at the front doors of Apple. In 2015, they're trying to grow Apple Health, Apple Watch coming out. They make this announcement they're going to hire 500 developers. So I'll throw my app in there, make it all to the final round, get that whiteboarding interview where it's all day, 8 hours. There's like 6 different teams that come in and out. And it's just like you're in a gauntlet of interviews. And it was in that moment where I was like, whether I get this job or not, it's like, just be consistent, JB. Like the confidence comes by just showing up every day. Like motivation's overrated. That stuff is great, but if you're just true to yourself and you're consistent, you will go way farther than you thought. And so Apple was the best thing that ever happened. Because of that, I got to roll into my second business opportunity, which was being part of the founding team at Parallax. And that was a completely different experience because it was a SaaS product and I was building integrations on a full stack platform. So I was working on the front end, doing full JavaScript. It was just another new experience with A+ talent. Everyone on Parallax was just from a whole nother world and experience I was tapping into. And that is where I've been the last 4.5 years of just growing my craft. And what I would say my favorite thing at Parallax, which is like the SVP of culture. And that's where I think my true business skills shine through. And it's just leadership. And it's ultimately bringing a group of people together on a common goal. So that could be sports, that could be in a school, that could be in a business. And Parallax has been growing like crazy. We're pursuing a Series B. We're a venture capitalist fund startup. And so it's been a whole wealth of knowledge and learning from that. And with that, I was able to have the opportunity to coach with Chaska girls basketball. Shout out Tara Cipher. And I got to be their hype man for the last 2 years. And so I was like, got to come back again now to the sports world and apply everything that you instilled into me. And I would love to get the Chaska girls out here at some point. We'll get some on the podcast. But oh my gosh, that was the most fun 2 years. Like that team bought into everything I was trying to instill from hype. And we got to do the power of positive team through John Gordon over the summer and take him through that. And just like, if you take the focus off the results and you just buy into the process, your team and like you said, the experience you provide for the individuals is what is important. Not the coach, not the individual, not your accolades, the experience you provide. And this is just all coming full circle. It gives that confidence of like, I don't know a lot. We don't know what's going to happen in the world. Anything could happen at any moment. But what I do know is if we care about what we're doing, you're consistently showing up to it, you generally try and go deep on a competence level where you're trying to learn your true craft, you will unlock this confidence that allows you to walk through life with no matter what's thrown at you. And I'm just so blessed to have met you, Rick, man. I'm so excited to start teaching. Let's go. Put the banner on. Let's go.
Ever since you were 14, I've always loved your energy, man. It hasn't changed. I love it, man. I grabbed my notebook because you said a couple things I didn't want to forget. But if you study basketball, like people know that Rick Pitino has a coaching tree, right? They know that Calipari has a coaching tree. Coach K has a coaching tree. Like these guys are the world's best basketball coaches. So everyone knows the names of their coaching tree, right? Mm-hmm. Even though I've never coached at that level, I am so proud of the fact that I have my own coaching tree. You know, people that I have coached that have now turned around and on whatever scale are now impacting the world in a positive way. And I am a part of a coaching tree, right? Shout out to Elliot Anderson and Steve Cohn and different people that have instilled their belief in me that then allowed me to turn around and instill belief in others. And that's what this cycle is about. That's what AGB mentality is about. It's starting with someone caring about you, then you increasing who you are to get to such a confident level that your cup literally overflows. and you can't do anything else but to care about other people and keep the cycle going. So I'm super excited about what you're doing in your life, your business life, your technical life, and now getting into coaching as well. But one of the things you said that I want to make sure we talk about, because sometimes, you're going to be my co-host for a lot of the different content that we put out there.
Yes, sir.
And I think people might get a little nauseated by how often we agree. Okay. We're going to agree a lot, but sometimes we may end up disagreeing, right? And that's great, because one of the things we want to teach is the art of healthy debate, right? So
Absolutely.
you say motivation is overrated. Okay. So I want you to unpack that. But first, let me tell you why I think we may be agreeing, we may be disagreeing. I'm not sure. But here's what I think about motivation. The word, when you break it down, means motion, right? It means motion. People think of the word motivated as like this feeling that it prerequisites work, right? If I don't feel motivated, I don't work, right? And if I do feel motivated, then I do work.
Right.
That's not motivation. I've never thought of motivation that way. Thinking of it that way, in my opinion, is a trap, because you're only going to do something when you feel motivated, right? What I teach and what I want the AGB mentality to encompass is motivation is motion. If you're working, you're motivated. And if you're not working, you're not motivated. And there's no in between. Just, I don't care how I feel. If I'm making movement, if I'm getting up to jog, if I'm doing push ups, if I'm reading a book, if I'm in motion, and that makes me motivated. So I think a lot of people are motivated because they're doing something. That's what's funny about the word motivation. I know I'm being a little long winded, but it's so important to unwrap this, because if you aren't, so I'm talking to you now, if you aren't moving, then that means you're depressed. And depression is something to take seriously, right? You should get help. You should seek professionals. When you're depressed, you're literally not moving. You're not getting out of bed. You're not doing anything because you physically can't. There's something going on. Get yourself checked out. The rest of us are moving. We're just moving sometimes in the opposite direction of our goals. So we're motivated. We're actually in motion, but we're in motion away from what we want to do. We're playing video games. That's a motion. So you can't tell me that you're not motivated if you're playing a
Yep.
video game. So that's my opinion on motivation. It is motion, and it should be used towards being consistent and competent about the things you care about. What do you say to that?
100%. This, for me, all stems from James Clear and his behavioral psychology breakdown of just motivation being overvalued, because it's often the environment that matters more. And that's why so big on environment crafting. And so, an example, what do you mean? So he uses this example in his book about him starting his day in article writing. So he is way more productive when he opens his laptop if the first thing he opens up is Evernote, where he starts taking notes. If the first tab he opens up is ESPN, he's probably going to go check the scores, which is going to lead to maybe reading about one of the highlights or watching another clip. And so next thing, he finds himself 30, 40 minutes of motion. He's reading, he's watching, but he's consuming the latest sports. Boom, you got it right there too. That's a foundation.
I think it's important, right? Because we're assuming that most of our listeners know this young man and know this book and know the principles in this book, but maybe some people haven't. Now, I don't have any problem doing the shameless, unaffiliated. We're not going to get a penny for this, but this book.
James Clear, if you do want to work, though, I mean, we're here.
But no, it's just a great book, and what I love about it is he talks about the fact that he doesn't say I'm a great person who wrote a great book. He says I'm a normal person who wrote a book that other people really gravitated to. And that's how I want to present myself to the world. I don't think we have something that is exponentially great. There's nothing new under the sun. What we have is a lot of care. And we're going to bring our mentality to the world. And hopefully it's successful as this one. But we really, really love what James Clear has done in his book, Atomic Habits, because he breaks down the AGB mentality in very, very edible, practical, consumable ways. Yes?
100%. And I use it at Parallax all the time. So we have a weekly win session or a quarterly, kickoff where we bring the team together. And I am always referencing James Clear's habits and his rule of 1%. And it's applicable to everyone. So yes, definitely pick up a copy if you haven't.
Okay. So then the other thing I wrote down when you were talking about the way you view confidence is I wrote down the word failure, right? Because you've told me off air that essentially better you could be viewed as a failure, right? You said you played football at the Division II level. You got on the field through special teams. You caught a touchdown, and then you caught 7 passes the rest of your career. Some people, if they're irresponsible, would call that failure. Talk to us about really what failure is and how that plays a role in confidence.
Yeah, James Leaf talks about this one. We could throw the YouTube out, but it's this idea that failure is a learning opportunity, period. And if you don't use it at that, then that's when true failure of how we think of it can actually set in. And so each of those opportunities, Rick, you're just talking about, like what that actually did is it instilled confidence of like, okay, I didn't know, then I tried, and now here's what I found out. And so I can use this from this day forward going on. And so when we were talking about this too, it's like, it's not what you acquire, it's not the material possessions you have, it's who you're becoming in that process. And so like right now in my season of life, I've never had, less physically, but I've never had more mentally. And I'm so excited to apply that and show to the world that like, you could be 28-year-old living in your mom's house, but it's what you do with that situation, that circumstance, that adversity, the opposition.
Yeah, and I like that you're throwing some things in there that we want to like broker our people too, and I'll do the same. A brother of a really good friend of mine, his name is Ryan Leak. I don't know if some of you guys have heard of him, but he did a video a few years ago called Chasing Failure. And this brother, what he did was he called every team in the NBA. Have you seen this video?
Yeah, it's amazing story. We'll link that. You gotta watch this video.
Yeah, this guy, he chased the failure and he said, I want to make it to the NBA. And he knew that it was a long shot, but he said he called every team in the NBA and said, will you give me a tryout? Most of them said no. Phoenix Suns said yes. That's long story short. He documents going to that tryout and failing. He documents how hard it was. But the most powerful thing, I'm going to give away the whole video. So, go watch it. But I want you to understand what I love about Ryan's ministry, the way he speaks in this video is he says, while I was chasing failure, I succeeded more than I ever did chasing success, because he was actually for a moment on an NBA court being coached by an NBA coach, which is something I've never done. You know what I mean? Like in my attempt to chase success, right? I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I played college basketball. I tried out overseas. Like I tried to be successful, and I've never been coached by an NBA coach. He tried to fail, and he was coached by an NBA coach. You know what I mean? It's a very powerful message to free your mind up, to just chase failure. And I've really taken that and applied that to my life. And that brings us here, right? We're starting a new company, JB. Me and you working together. Taking an old brand, taking the old AGB basketball brand, and then sort of morphing it together with AGB mentality and who you are as far as your ability to transcend sports. Taking my 20 years of experience in coaching, playing, teaching, succeeding, leading in the world of sports. I've been doing this a long time, helping young people for a long time. I love doing it. Anyone who's ever come into my office or come to talk to me knows I care. This is important to me. And so now we're going to try to scale that care and bring it to as many people as we possibly can. And we're going to chase failure. Let's see what happens. Let's get ourselves out there. So thank you for joining us for this first episode. We will come to you guys with more episodes. Are you ready to always get better? If you are, man, you can work with us. We've got mentorship and we've got membership, and then we got mentality coming. Talk to them about those 3 really quick.
Yeah. Mentality is going to be Rick and I's attempt to package up what we just talked about in an asynchronous online course. So think masterclass, Udemy type thing, where we're going to package it. You can do it on your own time. Membership is going to be an opportunity where you can interact with us on a monthly or yearly basis, depending on which route you want to go. And it's going to have that access, that Q&A, webinars. We're going to get out to you, but give you more direct access. And then membership, mentality.
Yeah, the mentorships, work with us on a higher level.
And so this is our third one. This is one, people out there telling you, don't do this. We want to do this. We want our time with you. And so if you're out there, you want a mentor, we're going to have different options of how those links and how our interactions can work. But we're really excited. Whatever your journey is, whether you're pursuing that collegiate scholarship, whether you've already got it and you're pursuing life during college or life after college, we want to join in your journey. We want to join in and figure out how we can help pair and give you these 4 awesome mentality mindset is just going to equip you for whatever you're trying to do. And accountability environment is so important. That's why we believe in this. Like, I believe that you can go out and you could probably do whatever you want to do with people out there existing. But I know in my heart and soul that if you come along with us, we're going to help you have a more enjoyable and pleasant experience during that process. And that's something I'll throw it out there. I'm willing to bet that we can make whatever you're going through a more enjoyable experience.
For sure. Again, athletic director at a university, been a high school athletic director and coach and dean of students, and been in the AAU world, starting my own business, running a basketball club, all of that, and an athlete. I played the game my whole life and played at a high level. All of that tells me that I know that parents have challenges when navigating this world of youth sports, what clubs to go to, what leagues to go to, what tournaments to go to, when to get involved with what's going on with your coach, when not to, when to yell at the referees, when not to, how to get recruited. There are so many things that we can help parents with alone. Then, because I've coached for most of my adult life, I know how to put together programs. I know how to put together practice plans. I know how to build culture. I know how to help coaches in their exploration of that craft. Like, you're going from athlete to coach, or maybe you're going from parent to coach. Maybe you're tired of what you're seeing out there and you want to start your own program and you'd like to get some help with that. That's what we're here for. I'm here to help coaches put together their own coaching culture. And then the heart of it all is all to help athletes. So if I'm helping a coach, it's so that he or she can help an athlete. If I'm helping a parent, it's so that they can walk alongside their athlete better, because it's all about that for me. Because I know with my own experience, and I think JB would back me up on this, I know how navigating my sports career has directly impacted the way I do life. I am who I am as a man. I am who I am as a father, as a leader, as a person, because of the lessons I learned through the beautiful game of basketball. And so I get excited about facilitating a community that helps all three, parents, coaches, and athletes, come together, not separate. We're not going to talk bad about each other and blame each other for what's going wrong in youth sport. We are going to work together with a consistent mindset that helps us all navigate this so that we can all transcend this. Right? Let's get beyond sport. Let's go do other things. Let's learn instruments. Let's build businesses. Let's make money. Let's have successful relationships. But let's do it because we learned how to navigate the world of youth sports. That's what this is about. You can come along for free. Get on our newsletter. We'll come to you once a month with a newsletter. We'll get you some information. We'll open up a community to you, a Facebook group that you can join and just talk with other parents, coaches, and athletes. You can do that completely free. You want to take it up a notch? You can do it for a small amount. You can come work with us once a month. We will come and do a webinar like this, like what you're saying. We found this StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard. Whoever decided to put that together, man, bro, you are killing it. This thing is extremely valuable software. But we'll come on this. We'll invite you to it, and then you can ask us questions. You have a question for an AD about recruitment or injury prevention or mental health or how to put together a program, I got you. If you have a question about entrepreneurship, how to take a chance outside of the world of sports, you got tech questions, you got money-making questions, JB is your guy. Don't let his background fool you. The boy's loaded, but that's another story. We'll come live and talk to you once a month for that membership fee. Want to take it one step further. I want to work with those guys individually. I want access to them. I want to meet with them once a week. I want to be mentored by either Coach Rick or Coach JB or both of them. That option exists through AGB Coaching. Go to our website and click that button. We'd love to work with you. And then we're working on the mentality. We're going to put together a course. You guys know how that works. We'll make it so that you can consume what we're teaching on the fly, on your own time. All right?
Yes,
Did I cover it all, JB?
You covered it all, man. You covered it all, and it's time. So appreciate it. Make sure you also like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll be coming on all social platforms, short form. We'll be cutting this up. So every share and follow, it means the world, because ultimately the more community we can build, the better and higher quality content we can keep pumping out. So thank you for joining this journey. It's going to be a fun one. And episode 1.
Yeah, we did one in the book. Hey, and I already know you're better, you people, you're JB fans, they're coming. I'm not worried about them, they're coming. I know my AGB fans, I know the parents that know who I am, EA, AGB, Judson. Look, my people are coming. You guys are welcome. But we also want to talk to the people that don't know us. This is our way of introducing ourselves to you, tell you who we are. We're two genuine souls, man. We're just genuine souls. We just love to connect. We love to help you get better at whatever goal you have. So Thank you for joining us for this first episode. Click here for more episodes. Like, subscribe, do all those fun YouTube things, and let's get better together. We'll see you at the next one.
Let's do it. Yes.